Hello everybody, Matt here with a week 2 retrospective. Yeah, so 14 days into making a video a day. Well, technically this is the 15th because, it's been 2 weeks. And yeah, this ended up being a lot more work than I expected it to. So I think the interesting thing for me is, when I was talking to friends about this, they were like, oh, that seems like a lot of work. Are you sure you're going to be all right with it? And I thought, well, yes, I am. It'll be fine. I'll slot it in, doing 5 minutes of just talking about a book and obviously reading the book. It's like two hours max. But obviously 2 hours is a long time when you're also doing a podcast, when you're also doing reviews, when you're also doing other reels and all this other stuff. And it was manageable for, I think, most of those 2 weeks. The issue became that I started to want to experiment more with the editing, and naturally, as you saw already at the start of the second week, I started to want to have more fun with how I was talking about the manga. I wanted to do edits, I wanted to do small sequences, I wanted to do a little bit of me going, hey, here's an image. And that meant that the time it took to source the image or the footage and everything else meant that it took longer to edit. And that ended up just essentially being too much work. And I was like, okay, doing all of this every day for the rest of this month, especially as now some exciting things have happened that I will tell you about probably on this channel / on the podcast in the future. I'm like, okay, if I want to do those things and have a life / sleep, then I need to figure out what to do with the rest of this experiment. Naturally, it being an experiment, I have the ability to go, right, cool. I realise doing one of these a day, as much as it was fun and as much as I enjoyed doing it, is probably too much if I want to have a healthy relationship to creating these videos. And so what I'm going to do is alter the experiment. And the reasons for this are obviously the time stuff that I'm getting into, but also because I realised that yes, I could do this to the level that I want these videos to be, but the Outlanders video kind of showed me that I could do more interesting stuff than just talking head video stuff. And that's not a discouragement on people who do that. And people who do that very well, and I'm not saying the content I've created is at that level yet. But it also made me realise, okay, I could just talk about this book and show pages, but I kind of want to do a bit more deep dive. I kind of want to give a bit more information on the mangaka and the cultural context of the manga, and maybe scratch below the surface a little bit other than going, the art's pretty, I like the story. And so, this is a long way around saying, like, well, if I want to make the videos I want to create, and if I want to take time to figure out how to craft those and figure out how to edit them in the way that I want to, because while this is quite off the cuff, obviously, when I'm trying to think of mangaka names or character names and everything else, that becomes a bit more tricky. Maybe I could do videos like this that were around the topic of manga and anime and like general terms, but I always think there'll be some stuff that I will screw up if I'm talking about it like I'm doing now if I do that. And as a result of that, I'm thinking like, well, okay, what I'll do is for this third week of this experiment is I think I'm only going to post 3 videos. And that, obviously, today is a write-off. I'm still going to do the weekly update things to see how I think they've gone. But I think then I will probably post a video this week as a result of going, okay, I'm not going to do one tomorrow because I want to give myself a bit of a break. Probably Wednesday, Friday, Sunday maybe. And then from next week, it'll probably be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I will address that in the third week if it actually still makes sense. Maybe I'll go back to making a video a day because I'm like, okay, actually, the thing that I thought I wanted to do in itself is too much work. I don't really know. This is all an experiment. This is, again, trying to figure out how I can slot this in around the other stuff in a way that is creatively fulfilling for myself, but then also doesn't lead to burnout. And, that is the thing, obviously, I'd like to avoid. So, for now, 3 week will be the thing going forward. And again, that allows me to put a bit more production into them and, think about them a little bit more. And I'm curious to see if with that time and kind of thinking about it in chunks rather than going right, I've got to do one of these every day and trying to squeeze it in, if my time management becomes more efficient in making them, because right now, as you've seen by the sporadic times of posting, it's been all hours, and if I actually need all the time I think I do, or is it nice to read a manga one day, let my thoughts ruminate, and then do the same thing I was doing before? We'll see. It's going to be an experiment. I might try and do different kinds of videos or approach them differently this week, and I think that'll be the differentiator in them, and then I'll see what people think of those. But anyways, for now, that is a long ramble to say, not going to do a video every day because it becomes too much work, and yes, there's cool stuff on the horizon that I can't quite talk about yet, so that'll be something for the future. But I also just want to make sure that I'm creatively fulfilled, making sure these videos are worth watching and not just the ramblings of a madman to a camera, and that, it's a sustainable thing long term, and that I can actually create cool content that I'm as proud of as I am the podcast. Incidentally, go listen to the Tokyo These Days episode. Genuinely kind of deals with the stuff that I'm talking about in this video, but also is kind of one of the impetuses for me going, actually I want the YouTube stuff to be better, because I think that podcast is very, very good. So please go listen if you haven't already. I'll put the link in the show notes down below. Podcast. No, YouTube description. See, I screwed up at the end. You know what I mean. Anyways, I will be back on Wednesday, folks, with a slightly longer video, potentially on one topic rather than one book, but we will see. I might even just do a series retrospective. I've got a couple of ideas. I'll figure out which one makes the most sense given all the other stuff I have to do. Anyways, until then though, folks, be sure, as always, to read on. Take care. Bye-bye.